Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. So today I'm going to be continuing Amos. We've heard over the past 2 days about how the Israelites had had a lot of recent military and political success, but the more success they were having, the further they were drifting from God. And the more distant they were becoming and the closer they were becoming to their false idols and false gods. We've also heard about how God sent a warning to the people of Israel that if they don't change their ways, they will be punished. And we saw that Amos made a final call to the people to turn from these wicked ways, but no change happened. So we pick it up, Amos 7 to 9. So Amos 7, 8 and the first part of 9 are the visions that God gives to Amos of the future. So the first two visions are of locusts and fire. The locusts, swarms of locusts coming, a plague of locusts coming and destroying all of the crops, eating them all up, leaving nothing behind. And the vision of fire is basically the same, fire coming and destroying everything. And this is basically God saying that he will destroy the land and everything in it, because the people of Israel have strayed so far from God and they were turning to their idols. And when Amos hears this and sees these visions, he pleads on behalf of Israel not to send the plagues and not to send the fires. So God agrees. He decides not to send the plagues and the fires. The third vision is a plumb line. Now, a plumb line is a way of testing to see if something is straight. It's basically a piece of string with a weight on the end, and the weight pulls the string down straight. In his vision, God is judging the people on how they've reacted to Amos's teaching in chapter 5, verse 14, which was yesterday's key verse. So if you don't know what it is, I suggest you go and read it. It was really good. So God says that he will compare the people to the plumb line of the teaching because he will no longer stand for their sins. Amos doesn't protest this, and because God is showing him how far the people have strayed from this teaching and how they've completely ignored the warning that they've been given. So the final vision is God violently striking the pillars of the temple at Bethel. This is an image of justice, God's justice on the leaders and the fake gods of Israel. Just because the Israelites were God's chosen people, that doesn't mean that they were free from his judgment and punishment. They're treated the same as any other nations. God didn't punish them. If God didn't punish them when they'd gone so far astray, he wouldn't be loving them properly. He'd be allowing them to harm each other and themselves. As they had been doing in previous chapters. So after all the punishment, God says he will restore the line of David to its former glory. This is at the end of chapter 9, the second part of chapter 9. So after all the punishment, God says he will restore the line of David to its former glory. This is referring to Jesus and how he'll come from David's line, rebuilding the family of God's people, extending it to all nations, not just the Israelites. So God also says that there will be a time where everything he had done to punish the people would be reversed. The crops and the grains would be produced faster and much more abundantly, and they'd much more abundantly than they can be harvested, and that the exiled people would be brought back from distant lands to rebuild their cities in their own land. This is Amos 9, verse 13 to 15, which is my key verse for the day, which is written in the written part of this. So from this we can see the relationship between justice and mercy. If God is good, then he has to confront and judge the evil in Israel and the nations, because his long-term goal is to rebuild and restore his people. God can see the bigger picture. So I'd like you to take some time to think about how God is continually looking to bless us and how he has continually blessed us, even if it might not seem like a blessing at the time. Thanks.